I'm going to run you through how important music and the speakers that you bring into your restaurant, cafe, and bar really are. You don't need a $30,000, $50,000 sound system, but you also shouldn't have a phone and a gastronome or a Bluetooth speaker. So I'll run you through that. And this stuff is critical, right? Like, I remember it used to frustrate me so much walking into my cafes when the music was either too low or too loud, or the staff had turned off my playlist and turned on theirs, and the music was wrong. Like there's a mindset to the sort of music that you should have in there, and I'll run you through this. Um, Always have this slide in here just to remind about me that it's not just me making this stuff up. I've designed hundreds and hundreds of restaurants, cafe, and bars in every category of food and beverage. I've owned four of my own. I know this stuff. I've seen what works and what doesn't, and where the wins are. So, and every mistake. So exactly, bad music creates a bad atmosphere. I don't know if you've ever been in a space, and I've done it. I've experienced it probably dozens, hundreds of times. You go in somewhere and there's either no music, terrible music, and your brain just doesn't have anything to focus on. And so you're sitting there and you're like watching the barista for your coffee, or you're watching the kitchen for your food, and you're looking at the dirty table, and your brain's just thinking because there's nothing distracting it. There's no addition to the atmosphere. So, but when there's good music on, well, you start to get uplifted, right? Like you just get caught up in the beat of it, and you're sitting there, and it just allows you to not just be thinking, but to be a part of an experience and an atmosphere. And I'll keep going through this. So don't use these. Don't use your cheap Bluetooth speakers. They're just amateur hour, and it sounds crappy, and it's half-assed, and it just doesn't add to the space. Like, it's just not worth it. Sure, you might be able to get some good quality portable ones, and maybe if you put two or three or four of them around, you can get some, surround stereo sound. It might be an improvement, but don't just put one of these in one spot with a bit of music coming out of the corner. It's not a great solution. Much better solution is like a Sonos, just under $500. Get minimum two of those on either end if you got a smaller space, or four if your space is a bit bigger, and put them in throughout the room. And these are getting better and better at bouncing sound around. So these are a good quality product, I feel. People moan about Sonos for different reasons, the app or whatever, but I think they're a good quality product. I got a number of them myself. I got them through my home. I've used them multiple times, even years ago, in my spaces, and I've designed lots of them into spaces. I recommend them. There's an app called Soro and I'm sure there's other apps. Check this out. Check other ones out. It means you can set alarms or times for when different playlists come on at different times, and so you don't want to leave it to your staff, like was my issue. Controlling what playlists come in at what time of day, and different music is more appropriate for different parts of the day. The early morning startup, the mid-morning if you're in a cafe, lunchtime starts to get a bit more energy in the afternoon, and then same with the dinner service, and then afterwards, depending on what your day parts are for your space, you want different types of music. Always upbeat, and I'll get onto this in 2 seconds, but you want to manage it. You don't want to leave it to your staff, because it is a critical part of the atmosphere. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, whoever your target market is, align the music for that. And if you've got a regional cuisine, whether you're Mexican or Indian, Argentinian, Italian, or whatever, I'd recommend trying to stick with music within, that reflects that, and not, you don't have to go hard traditional, but like, use music from those cultures, preferably, probably a lot of my students, a lot of people I deal with are contemporary kind of modern, youngish people, and so you'd have the most contemporary music in there, and it's always try to have upbeat music, unless you're specifically like a rock cafe, like often a lot of guitars and stuff can get a bit jarring. So just listen to the music, feel it in the space, and if it makes you kind of nod your head, well, brilliant. You got to have a bit of a gut feel to this. If music is not your thing, find someone else that it is their thing and get them to support you along with it. But when it works, it works. And it is quite a lot of work to put together a playlist, if I'm honest. It takes a lot of editing and thinking and skipping through and making sure it's the right sort of songs. But once it's done, it's great. And it's an ongoing process. Could staff get bored of them? So, you got to keep changing them out. You don't want to drive them insane, but align your music with your concept and your target market. And that same thing goes with volume, right? Like the oldies, if you've got quite an old crowd that comes in, well, they're going to want slightly lower volume. Younger people want a bit more energy. So upping the volume is a good idea in those sort of spaces. If you can add a subwoofer, great. Like clean bass, again, it doesn't mean you're playing like drum and bass or heavy hip hop, though that's cool as well. It just means that the clarity of the sound is nice, and it just adds to that atmosphere. So you don't need booming bass, but a decent subwoofer just adds to the atmosphere as well. You can spend 2-3 grand, get a great music setup. It's worth every cent. Like I feel like music has such an impact. You can screw up some of the design stuff, you can screw up all sorts of things, but when it comes to your atmosphere and feeling, your lighting and your music makes such an impact. And it's not that hard to get it right. I've got another video on lighting, you can go check that out. But there's the solution to the music. Spend a couple of grand, get it right. Please, click the other links that I have here to check out what I do. I genuinely can help operators. I've got dozens of testimonials. I can help you save a lot of money and design a better space and just be in control of your restaurant, cafe, and bar locations when you open them up or renovate them. You're in control. You're not listening to a designer. You're not listening to a contractor. You're like, this is what's happening. You control the budget. You control the design, and you get a space that represents you for the amount of money that you have or that you want to spend. So hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.